Assalamualaikum and greetings to Dr. Heidi Henry DUSIM and to all my fellow classmates. So today we're going to present about food security. But before that, I'm going to introduce my group mates and points that they will be present. For introduction and conclusion, it will be presented by Sumiati binti Bundu. And then next we have factor, issue or problems. It will be presented by Elfie Jalil. And then for the parties involved, it will be presented by Siti Hafizah binti Sohania, which is me myself. And then for the suggestions, it will be presented by Dang Shafinaz Wahab.
Food security could be a versatile idea as mirrored in numerous documents developed by World Organization and Asian. The 1996 World Food Summit supported that food security could be a scenario that exists once all individuals, the least bit times, have physical, social, and economic access to ample, safe, and elementary food that meets their dietary desires and food preferences for a vigorous and healthy life. In distinction, food insecurity exists once individuals do not have adequate physical, social, or economic access to food as outlined higher than. In 2009 to 2020, ASEAN developed and enforced the Asian Integrated Food Security AIFS framework and two strategic plans of action on food security in 2009 to 2020. Specializing in a strategic set of measures supported sturdy commitments and position among all Asian member states, AMS. The goal of the AIFS framework is to make sure future food security and improve the livelihoods of farmers in Asia.
The issues food security in Asians. Food security is critical to human security and long-term development. The global food crisis of 2007 and until 2008 demonstrate that the food insecurity jeopardizes peace and stability and is a major source of conflict and potential violence. As ASEAN strives to become an integrated community of caring society in 2015 and beyond, we argue that the food security should be an integral part of the ASEAN community built agenda and should be given more attention than it is currently in the AEC blueprint. Most importantly, ASEAN's needs to be instilled with new food security thinking that is responsive to emerging global threats and challenges. Analysis issues the world is doing worse than ever before in terms of hunger eruptions due to climate change, the socio-economic impact of the COVID pandemic, and the various conflict. In 2020, there are 768 million people who were undernourished and face hunger worldwide, or 10% of the world populations. In 2020, 18.8% of people in South Asia experienced moderate to severe food insecurity, and 7.3% of the region's population was undernourished. In South Asia, student growth affected 27.4% of children under age of 5, as the majority of whom come from the impoverished family and rural areas. In 2022, it's predicted that over 750,000 people will die from starvation. Achieving a zero hunger by 2030 is one of the Sustainable Development Goals, which the world will fall far short if its current trends continue. The pandemic and the conflict in Ukraine have seriously disrupted Southeast Asia food supply chains, driving up prices, agri-food transportation disruptions, and labor supply reductions resulting from travel restrictions. Through these are beginning to ease up. are two examples of these disruptions. Moreover, the pandemic caused income reductions for nearly three-quarters of Asian households. The ability of people to buy enough food have been negatively impacted by this. The poorest people in South Asia have been most severely impacted by this wine. Surprisingly, in Thailand, which builds itself as kitchen of the world, roughly 30% of the Thais have experienced moderate or severe food insecurity between 2018 and 2020, up from around 15% between 2014 and 2016. Food price inflation and income reduction have also forced many low-income households in countries such as Laos, Malaysia, and Cambodia to consume less nutritious but cheaper food in recent years. Attempts to combat hunger and malnutrition in South Asia are complicated further by the effect of climate change, which interact with and amplify the effect of other major drivers of food insecurity such as conflict, economic downturns, poverty, and inequality. Climate change, according to Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change (IPCC), will cause a decrease in food supply and high price, undermining food security in South Asia. According to the estimate, floods, drought, and heat stress may cause the South Asia rice yields to drop by up to 50% by increasing the salinity of the water due to rising sea level. Rice plantations in river delta regions will also be negatively impacted. The increase in the price of staple foods like rice are only one aspect of how climate change affects food security. Extreme weather patterns, for instance, are likely to make it difficult for people to consistently obtain food. For example, by disrupting transportation routes, notably the livelihoods of a large participation of the population in Asia are dependent on agriculture and fishing. The detrimental effect of climate change of fish stock and agriculture productivity could lower these people's incomes and hinder their ability to buy enough food. The availability of nutrient-dense foods in Asian regions' food supply, that is, fruits, vegetables, and different sources of proteins, is already quite constrained. Climate change is therefore likely to further reduce the production and supply of nutrient-dense foods. Foods high in nutrients tend to be more expensive, according to one study. 46% of Asia's population in 2020 might not be able to afford healthy diet. In 2010s, saw a significant increase in consumption of the carbohydrate in Asians, particularly rice, and a decrease in the amount of essential vitamins and minerals consumed by a 20 by about 24% of the population, which have a negative impact on the people's cognitive functions and opportunities in life.
Parties involved. Food security has been implemented and practiced in ASEAN countries, which is Brunei Darussalam, Cambodia, Indonesia, Laos, Malaysia, Myanmar, Philippines, Singapore, Thailand, and Vietnam. All of these ASEAN countries has been joining in establish the strategic plan of action for cooperation in food, agriculture, and the forestry, which in general ASEAN members are one of the parties that involve in forming the food security. ASEAN cooperation in food, agriculture, and forestry has set up a few strategic plans in order to ensure the objective of food security among the ASEAN countries can be achieved. In their plan of 2016 to 2025, they will be focusing on main areas for cooperation, propose strategic trust and action programs. It is formulated in a global and regional context and in response to the socio-economic and demographic changes driven by three key drivers, which is rapid economic growth, regional integration, and globalization, also pressures on the natural resources base, including climate change. Moreover, these parties also act as maintainer in ensuring all the progress that has been incurred will be in line with their plan. For example, during the outbreak of pandemic COVID-19 around the world, the concern has taken place by the ASEAN Minister of Agriculture and Forestry (AMAF) about the commitment to ensure the food in ASEAN region will be safe to eat and nutrition. While AMAF has pouring all their effort in ensuring food security always practiced during pandemic, the Ministry of Primary Resources and Tourism of Brunei Darussalam expressed his appreciation to AMAF for the cooperation and collaboration during the pandemic. Also, he believed ASEAN will be continue working to ensure the sustainable supply always sufficient, safe and nutritious food that meet the dietary requirement of ASEAN population during and after the pandemic outbreak. Furthermore, there is a few goals that has been pointed out in running this food security in any region. According to the Food Security and Nutrition and Sustainable Development Goals, there is 17 goals that has been mentioned, which is no poverty, zero hunger, good health and well-being, quality education, gender equality, clean water and sanitation, affordable and clean energy, decent work and economic growth, industry, innovation and infrastructure, reduce inequality, sustainable cities and communities, responsible consumption and production, climate action, life below water, life on land, peace and justice, and the last one is partnership for the goals. Among all these 17 goals, I'm going to explain a few of it. So the first one is about no poverty. Poverty keep rising every year around the world, and the poorest country in ASEAN is Myanmar with only GDP per capita of 1,408. Even though Myanmar are not the poorest country in the world, but it's still under minimum wage average. That's how food security can eradicate this poverty. Well, when all the food that has been produced are in good nutrition, it can lead to the higher labor productivity, greater mental capacity, and longer also healthier lives. In the better word, health people can do their work better than sick people. So secondly is about gender equality, where in previously women has restriction in certain part, especially working, which since only men get better education in the early of their age. Not only that, women also been seen as incapable humans since their energy cannot match with the men, especially once again in working. However, food security can help in improving the nutrition of girls or women, and also the children can improve schooling, thus it will reduce the gender inequality. And then lastly, I will choose about the partnership for the goals, where under ASEAN food security, there is 10 countries that willingly join this platform. By this partnership, they can share many of their ideas on how to solve the food security among their region. The platform of ARF or ASEAN Regional Forum really usable for any discussion needed either about their personal issue or other issues. By that, this partnership are one of the platform which can reach their own goals or the ASEAN goals.
Suggestions. As we know, today's reality represents a combination of challenges that includes poverty, especially in remote areas, and an unresolved threat to food security. To ensure food security for all in the years to come, we will need to produce more food using fewer environmental resources while reinvigorating rural economics. This is a formidable challenge, but together we are confident that we can tackle it. It will require a very high level of collaboration among all stakeholders in the agriculture value chains, including governments, companies, multilateral and civil society organizations, farmers, consumers, and entrepreneurs. As a partnership with a variety of resources and capabilities, we can help make this aspiration a reality. Here are the best suggestions or steps that will help us reach these targets. Have a strong joint leadership, bringing together public and private institutions to create breakthrough solutions, build the capacity of farmers. Let's explore we can do to improve capabilities through effectively sharing best practices, for example, to improve yield or manage the environment better. Empower women farmers and entrepreneurs. We should, with the help of partnering companies, set up social enterprise that are self-sustaining and lift the quality of life of these people and their communities. Disseminated knowledge and technology. For example, mobile technologies can help provide access to relevant information such as weather data, fertilizing requirements, or up-to-date pricing levels. Improve access to financial services. Let's find ways to provide financing solutions that are cost-effective for the farmers and technology-enabled. Invest in processing and logistics. We should identify innovative ways to share infrastructure or equipment in a meaningful way. Another potential height impact area relates to a more effective sharing of best practices across countries. For example, instead of each country improving the same crops, we should consider a more cooperative system within the region. This will require hard work and getting our hand dirty. It is require going on site, engaging with farmers and checking and rechecking to make sure that challenges are getting resolved. In the end, it is about making changes on the ground.
So in the nutshell, food security is one of the best methods in ensuring all the society in any region can live a better life with better health. Since food security will guide the region access to quality, nutritious food is fundamental to human existence. The secure access to food can produce wide-ranging positive impacts that include economic growth, job creation, and also poverty reduction. That's it from our group, and thank you for watching.